Hello guys, and welcome to another live stream research video. And in this video I will be going through the fight between Maki Pitolo and Callan to see if there are any decent betting opportunities. Now this one, again like many of the other live stream videos I've put out this week, is going to be a tricky one for betting because there's not a great deal of recent footage available on Maki Pitolo. As we can see, over the last few years, his last fight against Justin Sumter ended in the first round on the Contender Series, and then aside from this fight in Bellator, his fight back in 2017 against Thiago Rella ended in round 1. Also, when you get back into these fights in Victory FC, they were a very, very long time ago. Now, to be able to get the most out of what I'm going to share with you in this video, I recommend going and watching this fight between Chris Cisneros from Bellator 213, which went deep into the third round. Because, of course, this fight is going to give us the best indication of what we can expect from Maki Pitolo this weekend. You can find this fight on the Bellator website. I will leave a link to it in the description below if you are watching this on YouTube. Highly recommend checking this fight out to learn a little bit about Pitolo. And remember, this is also his UFC debut. Technically, he has fought under the UFC umbrella when he competed on the Contender Series, but this is his first proper fight in the UFC. Also, Callan has previously fought one time in the UFC, took a short notice fight against Jalen Turner. That fight ended in 53 seconds though, so we could kind of treat this as his UFC debut as well, because he hasn't spent that much time in the octagon adjusting to the bright lights of the UFC. If anything, there might be more pressure on his shoulders to perform this weekend. So let's talk a little bit about X Factors. So the first and obvious X Factor is Pitolo's proper UFC debut, and we know a high percentage of fighters that make their UFC debut actually lose. Both guys are coming in this fight on the full camp though. It's not like either of these guys took the fight on short notice. In terms of where these guys have been training, Callan appears to train at a small independent gym, although can't find too much information on where he actually trains. Doesn't really. Oh, actually, well, we've actually just made a discovery there. Couldn't find his Instagram profile all day. Actually just found it by going to his Twitter. And couldn't find his actual Instagram profile, but he's linked to it all over his Twitter. So here we go. He trains with Dan Kelly, and we can see that Dan Kelly is definitely enjoying his retirement. And obviously we've got Jake Matthews here that's also fighting this weekend. So at least we know Potter's training with at least a UFC level of fighter. Very, very cool. Okay, so he is training with Jake Matthews coming in this fight. Very interesting, which would mean Jake Matthews is training with quite a small group of fighters at the moment, not the highest level of training partner. Very interesting. In terms of Maki Pitolo, that's why I like these live research videos, right boys? We learn stuff together. We're learning on the spot. This is not prepared. This is not planned. I am just sharing my research with you on the spot. We do know Maki Pitolo trains with Yancy Medeiros and occasionally with Max Holloway in Hawaii. Plenty of pictures of him training in Hawaii here. Here he is with Yancy Medeiros. Is there anyone else we recognise in this picture? Nobody else I recognise there. But yes, Maki Pitolo training with Yancy Medeiros. So that is it for training camps. Remember, I will leave a link to this fight in the description below. Check it out to learn a little bit more about what Pitolo brings to the table. Please, if you enjoyed this video, you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button below. It really helped the channel grow. I really, really appreciate it if you could do that. And also, leave a comment and let me know what you think of these live stream videos. Obviously, they're not live for you if you're watching on YouTube, but hopefully we will get live streaming capabilities back soon. Please join me on Twitch and you can watch these live stream videos live and participate in them. So if you want to participate, jump on Twitch. I'll leave a link to my Twitch channel in the description below also. So let's now get into watching some footage on Callan. I guess another X factor to take into consideration. Let's talk about the age and size of both guys. So Potter's 35 years old. You know, he's getting on a bit compared to Pitolo, who's only 28 years old, should be making big improvements from fight to fight. Pitolo is 5'10" with a 73.5-inch reach. Callan Potter should be taller with a 6 foot, well, at 6'1", but his reach won't be quite as long. Although not too much of a difference. So we look at where the weights these guys have been fighting at. So Maki Pitolo, I mean, this fight is taking place at welterweight. We can see that he has been fighting a few different weight classes. He looks like a natural welterweight when you see him. He's not very big. You can see the majority of the fights in his career appear to have been at welterweight, although his last couple at middleweight and also a catchweight, 180 pounds. What's Potter been doing? Actually fought at lightweight. Interesting. So Callan Potter's actually the bigger man here at 6'1", but he has been used to competing at lightweight, whereas Maki Pitolo's been fighting at middleweight, or once. So possibly a big welterweight fight in a small welterweight here, even though the height wouldn't really suggest that. But yeah, worth considering that Maki Pitolo is 7 years younger than Callan Potter. He does have almost 30 pro fights, and maybe Father Time's starting to catch up on him, who knows. But let's not make any judgments. Let's jump into watching some fight footage of both these guys and see what we come up with. So, first fight we are going to watch from Callan Potter is going to be from Eternal MMA 40 against BJ Bland. And this is probably the fight that's going to tell us the most, because obviously his last fight ended in 53 seconds. His fight before that ended in a minute, and his fight here is not available to watch online. So this one went to a decision against the guy with a 13-9 record. Not that encouraging. Not a good sign initially, but remember, fights aren't fought on paper, they're fought in the cage. So let's get into the fight and see exactly what happens. So Callan Potter is in the white shorts here and the blue gloves, or they're both in white shorts, but Callan Potter wearing the blue gloves and the knee brace. Interesting to see a fighter that trains with Dan Kelly also wearing a knee brace. We know Dan Kelly always had to strap his knees up quite badly because of multiple knee injuries that he suffered throughout all his years competing in judo. So just to talk you through a little bit about what Maki Pitolo brings to the table. He's primarily a boxer, very, very good boxer. He has got actually quite a similar body type, I guess, to BJ Bland here, but way more athletic, in way better shape. He's kind of got a strong core, strong base, thick running back type legs that we saw from Brad Riddell in the last video. Very muscular. And he likes to just stay flat-footed, walk his opponents down and chip away at them with punches. He's kind of a pure boxer. His takedown defense is okay. His ground game's okay. Nothing special, though. Certainly not bulletproof takedown defense or a bulletproof ground game. But a very, very, very good boxing. Very good technique. Not particularly dangerous. Doesn't seem to have that much power in his hands, but very, very technical. So here we see Callan Potter in on the first takedown. Not liking what I'm seeing from Potter so far, because you see that he's tied BJ Bland up as he shot him for this takedown, but he's very, very high above very high above Bland's hips. He tried to go for a leg sweep a few moments ago, but didn't really do it with any impetus, no explosion, no speed, and he doesn't look particularly effective in this area, in this range, in this clinch position. And landed a very nice short elbow there, but didn't come near a takedown. So Pitolo, also a tough Hawaiian, but in the fights that I watch from way back in Victory FC, I just want to make it clear that obviously we don't have a great deal of footage on Maki Pitolo to work from recently, but in these fights from back in Victory FC from like 2016, 2017, his ground game did look very low level, but it is worth bearing in mind, Yancy Medeiros, very skilled on the ground. If he's been training every day with Yancy Medeiros for the last 2 or 3 years, he's going to have improved a lot. And that fight in Bellator that I recommend you watch against Cisneros, it's a stand-up fight, so we don't really get to see if Pitolo's takedown defense or ground game's improved. Now here we see Callan Potter in a much stronger position. As they've had a coming together here, we can see that Potter's managed to get his hands connected around BJ Bland's body. He's also got an underhook on this right side. Can't see if he's going on the left side, but Potter's in a very strong position to complete a trip takedown here because he's got he's got control of BJ Bland's body, and we know, of course, this is a particular type of position that Dan Kelly was very good at getting fights to ground from, but unfortunately Potter not able to capitalize on that position, and actually gets doesn't get not good. I actually expected Potter to be able to complete a trip takedown there, and he didn't even attempt it. He just walked BJ Bland over to the cage and then gave up control of his body and easily gets reversed from Bland. So there's not a lot I'm seeing that I like from Potter here at the moment. This is not good. Doesn't look particularly strong in the clinch. Doesn't look like a particularly strong offensive grappler. But maybe as the fight wears on, you'll start to show us a little bit more. And let's start to consider the odds on this fight. So Pitolo's a big favourite. Kind of seeing why now after the first 3 or 4 minutes of watching Potter. So if we look at the odds on Pitolo, he's currently around about a 1.33 favourite for an implied probability of 75% at moneyline odds, are around minus 303. So that means in order to get any value on Pitolo here, you've got to give him around an 80% chance of winning, which is very difficult to do considering this is his UFC debut. There's still a lot of questions unanswered over him. And if we look at the odds on Callan Potter, currently around about an average of 3.50, which is plus 250 for an implied probability of 29%. So to get any value on Potter here, you'd really want to give him about a 40% chance of winning this fight. So we're looking at having to cap Pitolo at 80% and Potter at 40% to be able to bet either guy. And as we can see, Potter doesn't have the best striking defense as he comes forward. Very slow hand speed, chin up high and exposed, no real footwork. I mean, Maki Pitolo is a very crisp, a very technical boxer. Decent footwork, and I can tell you right now, as I'm seeing Potter walk forward very slow with his plodding style, with his hands down by his side, he's going to get lit up by Maki Pitolo. Here we can see he's in another very strong position, hands connected around BJ Bland's body, again in a strong position to get a takedown, but it looks like Bland's been able to get an underhook in play on the left side and break the grip of Potter. So yeah, again, I mean, look at this exchange, guys. Look at this exchange here. As they've broken off the clinch, Potter just starts to come forward. Just plods forward, hands down low, chin up high and exposed, just walking towards BJ Bland. And he's going to get lit up in this range. I mean, look at this. If you just look at this small 3 or 4 second sequence, which plays out, I'll try and stop it exactly at the point I'm on about here. As he comes into this range and he's thrown this right hand here, he's wide open to the right hook. We can see that BJ Bland's thrown this right hook. He hasn't really landed it too clean though. But he's wide open. He's thrown the strike off balance. His foot's in an awkward position. He's overcommitted. A technical boxer, a high-level technical striker like Maki Pitolo will punish him badly for making these kind of mistakes where he's overcommitted to the right hand. He's off balance. His foot's caught in an awkward position. And he's very, very lucky not to get knocked out making this kind of mistake. We can see that Bland missed the right hand counter there. But it's in that range that Potter's really going to have a difficult time. And he's constantly just trying to grab a hold of BJ Bland and tie him up and drive him into the cage. But the problem is, Maki Pitolo, this is why I want you to go and watch that fight against Cisneros from Bellator 213. If you go watch him, he's a very compact, very explosive, very athletic, very powerful fighter. He'll just be able to explode out of these positions. You know, he's got a strong base. He's got legs like an NFL running back. You're not going to be able to take down a guy like Pitolo. I mean, In fact, I mean, fuck it. These live stream videos are messy, right, guys? I'm just sharing my research with you. You know what I mean? It's not for everyone. If it's not for you, I can't say I care that much. It's a live research video. But I want to play you an interview with Callan Potter that I watched earlier on today. I won't know the exact part that it's from. So we're just going to play this through because there's a part in this video where he talks about Maki Pitolo's physique and that he's probably going to struggle to get this fight to the ground. So I'm just going to play this for you now, guys.
I mean, you accomplish the dream. You get to the UFC, right? Everything you want. Motion is like dreaming about getting there.
Yeah, look, it's sport. You know what I mean? I do get the late call up. I get to fight in my hometown against all my own people. Get knocked out in under a minute. That's the sport. You know what I mean? As much as sometimes you're on the other end of it, that's exactly why I love it so much. And the fact that I get to fight again in my hometown, you want to talk about redemption. There's no better redemption story than this.
No question about it. I'm sure you went back to the drawing board a little bit. As you said, circumstances weren't exactly perfect, but that's the sport. So, I mean, what did you take out of that? What lessons? What was the focus between then and now?
Look, there was a lot of things, obviously, external that played their part. But like I've always said, and I'll always admit, whatever happened, the main thing that happened that night was Jalen Turner. He did his job. Since then, we've been able to get a lot stronger. Been doing a lot of work with my striking coach and some strength and conditioning work to make myself a stronger and more formidable size. And lots of boxing and lots of striking, really making sure that not only am I striking a lot better, but I'm a lot harder to hit.
Nice. It said it's been some time has elapsed. You do get to fight here in your hometown again. Was that by design to wait this long to get back in there? Is that the way it worked out? What about the time off in between?
We were waiting for the UFC to sort of do whatever they were. We were at mercy to them. They had no obligations to give me a second fight. I was happy they were, and I was really grateful. I was happy to fight anywhere, anytime. The only thing I was asking for was to go back up to welterweight. That lightweight cut's become a little bit unrealistic now. So getting back up to welterweight, I was happy to go to Antarctica and fight a penguin for all I cared. But as long as I was back up at welterweight.
You talk about that move. I mean, what did it entail? What steps did you have to take to make sure you're not just competing at welterweight, but as you said, your formidable presence at welterweight?
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of work, lifting a lot of heavy things, a lot of repetition. I did have one more fight before I made the UFC at welter. At that stage, I still saw myself as a lightweight fighting at welter. Now I'm a welterweight. I put the size back on, I put on a lot of strength, and still managed to keep a really good movement and really good fitness, which I was a little bit worried about at the start, but now it feels sensational. I feel like a proper welterweight now.
Fantastic. And you get to go do this in a stadium show, right? I mean, Marvel Stadium. I wonder, I'm sure you go in there, it feels like every fight's a must-win, right? And I'm sure you feel that way. But at the same time, this is going to be a special atmosphere. This is going to be a special event. So do you think you're going to be able to soak that in and enjoy it a little bit, or is the mission too critical right now?
Look, I hope so. It'd be such a disservice to myself if I didn't. It's such an amazing experience. All I do with this sport is detach myself away from things I can't control. I've trained my backside off. I've got my weight down. All I want now to do is enjoy it and make memories. That's my goal within this sport, is to make memories. If I can look back and go, hey, remember that time I knocked someone out with a flying knee in the middle of Marvel Stadium? That's a pretty good memory, I reckon. That's
awesome. Talk about Maki Pitolo. He looked impressive in getting his way into the UFC. What do you know about him? What do you think about him as an opponent?
We've done a general research. He looks like he's a very capable boxer. He's obviously of Polynesian descent, so he's got those big, heavy legs. I'm not sure if I want to spend too much time trying to pick up those big legs, but look, I'm excited. What I was excited when I got the matchup was he looks like he comes to fight, and that's what I enjoy. I didn't want to get matched up with someone that doesn't come in there and enjoy mixing it up and have the ability to go put on a performance for Melbourne. He looks like he enjoys mixing it up, so that's what made me excited.
Obviously, the big thing is you want to win. I mean, you want to walk out every win. But what is really the goal here? I mean, is it to prove something to right a wrong that happened earlier in the year? Is it to prove to people that you belong? Is it to prove to yourself? I mean, what is the goal of this fight?
Well, proving, I don't think there's anything there to really prove. I'm very comfortable in what I've accomplished sort of locally at this level. I do like to show that I have got these abilities at the highest level. But like I said before, my main thing is to make memories. You know what I mean? It's great. I've made great memories on the local scene. I've made great memories through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. What I want to do is make some great memories worldwide too. You know what I mean? So not only can local people enjoy them, but let's say some people in the middle of, Russia go, hey, did you see that guy from Australia do that? That's what I want to do.
That's cool. It could be a special stage for that. So give me an idea when you play this thing out in your head. You've got more ideal scenario this time around. How do things go for you? How do you get your hand raised?
Look, it's great fun. Don't get hit in the face within 57 seconds. It's probably going to help out a bit. Look, just keep a high pace. Make him fight my fight. Whoever brings their fight, into the realm they want to do, the rhythm they want to do, the expectations of what they want to do. That's what's going to make the fight in the end.
So there we go, guys. As you saw it, or as you heard in that video, Callan Potter basically saying that Maki Pitolo's got big, thick legs, a strong base. It's not going to be easy for him to take him down. So Callan Potter understands that this is probably going to be a stand-up fight. We're kind of seeing the limitations of his offensive wrestling in this fight that we're watching from BJ Bland. And there we also heard, Callan Potter talking a lot more about striking, saying that he plans on being harder to hit. He's been working on a lot on his boxing, on his striking. But, I mean, really, how much is this guy going to have improved? I mean, he's 35 years old. This fight against BJ Bland took place 10 months ago. Is he really going to have improved that much since then at 35 years old? I mean, he'd have to make absolutely massive improvements. He's certainly not going to develop knockout. Oh, he's finally going for a trip takedown there. Not getting anywhere near it though. But, how much can his striking defense really improve? He's not going to be able to generate knockout power within that time. It's tough. It is very, very tough. It's one of those fights where, at the moment, I'm not seeing how Callan Potter could beat Maki Pitolo. At the same time, I'm also not rushing out to bet on Pitolo at an implied probability of, what are we looking at? It's going to be 75%. I'm not in love with capping a UFC debutant at 80%, especially when, 2-3 years ago, in his fights in Victory FC, he did show massive weaknesses on the ground. But here we can see Callan Potter, there again, the same weakness that we saw in the first round. He just comes forward, very flat-footed, chin up high and exposed in this section here. And Maki Pitolo's got great combinations, great boxing, fast hands. In those short 3-4 second windows where Potter's just stood flat-footed with his hands down low and his chin up high and exposed, a guy like Pitolo's going to light him up and knock him out. I haven't really taken a look at Callan Potter's record. I don't care about records. MMA records are irrelevant in my opinion because fights are fought in a cage, not on paper. But I would anticipate that Callan Potter's been knocked out quite a lot of times in his career just because of how bad his striking defense is. And he referenced that himself in that interview that we just watched from MMA Junkie. And he's easily getting controlled in this clinch position by BJ Bland as well. We've got to remember Maki Pitolo is a compact, muscular, athletic, explosive fighter. So, if a guy like BJ Bland can control him easily, and I'm guessing this fight was at lightweight, it was, then, a big, strong, young, hungry bull like Maki Pitolo should easily be able to control him in the clinch as well. And I also don't like how, Potter's training with Dan Kelly and Jake Matthews. Dan Kelly wasn't the most skilled fighter. He built a career on toughness and heart. I don't rate Jake Matthews very highly. I know a lot of people do, but I think that he has huge holes that he doesn't seem to be filling. More on that tomorrow when we hopefully do a live research video on his fight against Rostam Akman, or maybe we'll do that on Friday. We will see. But just really, we're 8 minutes into this fight now, and Callan Potter's been in some great positions to get this fight to the ground. He's had full control of of Bland's body, and curse the commentator as soon as I say that. He completes a fantastic judo throw straight into mount. So very, very nice there from Callan Potter, maybe reminding us that when we're just about to think that this guy has got no chance, and Maki Pitolo may be good parlay fodder at odds of around 1.33, judo throws out of nowhere straight into mount like that just remind us of exactly how confident you need to be in order to cap someone at an implied probability of 80%, because that's a huge probability to give a fighter. I say it all the time, but Maki Pitolo might have a bad weight cut. He might come into the fight with an injury. He might fight injured. He might think, I can't pull out. It's my UFC debut. He might suffer from nerves, stress, anxiety on fight day, which significantly impacts his performance. He might get a point deducted. He might get injured in the first round. All these factors go into making it difficult to cap anybody at 80%. And here we can see, just like Dan Kelly, Potter showing, strong hips from top position, the ability to inflict a lot of damage from top position. He's obviously busted BJ Bland up quite badly here. Although not the best back control because he's gone after the neck without securing control of the body. But good transitions from back control to mount. And staying heavy from this mount position. I mean, I'm glad we've seen this because this again just shows us that you can't cap Pitolo at 80% here, because if he does come out and run into one of these judo throws and end up on the bottom, we've seen in his fights in Victory FC, he is quite a low level on the ground. His takedown defense isn't bulletproof. And we're seeing Potter, just like Dan Kelly. In fact, he reminds me a lot of Dan Kelly. He's got bad striking defense, slow hand speed. Oh, interesting. His opponent, BJ Bland, actually trains at City Kickboxing. We can see the City Kickboxing coach here. Very, very cool. Don't know why I thought it was relevant to say that. It wasn't, because obviously Maki Pitolo trains in Hawaii. But the point I was trying to make about Potter is he's got a very similar style to Kelly. Looks like he should be a guy that you can knock out very easily. Kelly always look. Look. This is the first time we've seen BJ Bland really make Potter pay for his poor striking defense. This is kind of what I was saying Maki Pitolo would be able to do right from the jump, right from the start of the fight. As you see here, as Callan Potter walks forward, BJ Bland just lights him up with a very nice boxing combination, and Potter just stands there and takes it. But the thing is, with a guy like Pitolo, that's way more athletic, hits so much harder, has very nice boxing combinations, Potter's in a lot of trouble in this fight. But that judo throw and his top game just shows that there's a tiny bit of risk there for Pitolo. If Pitolo had, his odds were like 1.50 to 1.60, commanding an implied probability of, in the 60% ballpark, I'd say fair enough. You know what I mean? Go ahead and bet him, because it's fair to cap Pitolo at 70% based on what I'm seeing. But 80% is so aggressive. Potter's not good. He's absolutely not good. But at the same time, 80% is a very, very steep probability to assign any fighter. But he is getting lit up now in this third round by BJ Bland. Potter possibly slowing down a little bit here. He did say in that interview that we watched from him that the weight cut to lightweight was very, very difficult. So maybe his cardio will look better at welterweight. But I'm guessing he's slowing down a lot here because he maybe aggressively pursued that finish at the end of the second round. It didn't come. And now, look how slow he is standing. It's tough, boys, because when you see this, you want to bet Maki Pitolo. You really do, because of how bad Callan Potter is. But remember, let the odds do the work for you. We're hunting for strong positions. We saw so many big upsets last week. Everyone was on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk last week. Everyone was on Macy Chiasson last week, when it was clear that there was risk with both of those fighters. There were small ways that those fighters could lose, right? There were risk factors in play. And there's a small risk factor here, and to cap Pitolo at 80% is very difficult. But look, the whole point of these live research videos is, I'm not your dad, I'm not your mum, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just showing you the truth, showing you what is true, showing you how both these guys match up, and then you can make the betting decision for yourselves, right? Based on this fight, based on what I'm seeing, this is a very easy fight for Maki Pitolo, but unfortunately it comes at a cost. The bookies know this. That's why he's a giant favourite. Do I think he'll win? Absolutely, he should win easily. But at the same time, to get any value on him, you've got to cap him at 80%, which, no, man, it's a tough one. It is a tough one. It's tough. I certainly don't give Potter much of a chance of winning, based on how bad his striking defense looks here. And based on the fact that he's pretty much had no offensive wrestling throughout this entire fight. Let's just see if he looks slightly sharper in any of his other fights. I don't want to spend too much on this though, because because we've already spent enough time on this fight. I mean, we've seen a good amount of what Callan brings to the table there. Let's see if we can find the Marcin Held fight. I know someone shared it on my chat room. It looks like here it is. Very, very nice from ACB. So let's just take a quick look at this one. This was his fight just after, or just before, sorry, BJ Bland, from back in June 2018. So just over a year ago. Let's see what happens here. Does he just get leg locked? I just want to see if he looks just a little bit sharper than how he looked in that fight. You know, maybe he took that fight on short notice. You know, on the regional circuit in MMA, you know, you hear guys taking fights on like 24 hours notice and stuff. So I never like to just write a guy off for one bad performance. I always like to just look at a few different fights to see how they look overall. I mean, we saw in the breakdown video, the live research video for Zara Dos Santos, that, you know, in two of the fights as we watched, she looked very rigid, very stiff, very slow. But then in the other fight we watched against Kerry Hughes, she was much sharper, much more technical. And already here in this fight against Marcin Held, we're seeing Callan Potter move much better, a little lighter on his feet, a little sharper. You know, showing strong hips here. I mean, you shouldn't have to worry about takedowns against Maki Pitolo. Pitolo's a pure boxer. But is showing at least some level of athleticism, and he's just going to get a leg lock, right? Oh, yeah, so it's fucking Marcin Held, innit? What do you expect? Alright, let's go watch this fight now against Brenton Mumford from October 2017. It ended in round 1, so we're not going to learn too much from this. And then there's no point in going any further back, because obviously, you know, he's going to have changed so much since then. But he's looking in better shape here. Lighter on his feet. See, this is why you've got to watch it. This is why you've got to watch more than one fight. He looked absolutely terrible in that fight that we watched against BJ Bland. BJ Bland, yeah, that's his name. But here, you know, in these last two fights, he's moving a little bit differently. His physique looks a little bit different. He's in on a takedown here. Can't see if he's got his hands connected together in this position. Let's see what we can do from this position. So as we've seen in that fight against BJ Bland, certainly not very strong in the clinch. Unable to really get anything going in the clinch against BJ Bland. He hit that judo throw out of nowhere. But after watching Maki Pitolo in Victory FC, that is the kind of technique he would get caught with. Pitolo's takedown defense is not bulletproof by any means. And here we see Callan Potter getting in on a much deeper takedown. So this is way more interesting to me. Here we can see he's drilling very, very deep on Brenton Mumford's hips. Remember, he's 6'1", so he's going to have long arms. He looks like he might have his hands connected around Brenton Mumford's hips here. He's very, very deep in on the hips. He should be able to get this takedown. Should be able to drag Mumford away from the cage and complete this. Should be able to get this. He does. So we're seeing a different side of Callan Potter, right? And very, very nice grappling control. Very nice. But yeah, we're seeing more reasons here not to be. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. There's a lot that Callan Potter did great there. And here we're now seeing more reasons why we can't get anywhere near capping Pitolo at 80%. He's going to get this. This is tight. Is he not going to get this? He's not going to get it. Or at least we'll get to see a bit more of his ground game. But we just want to just go through exactly what's happened here. So he managed to get the takedown, which was very, very nice. But his opponent does a good job of scrambling out of it. But then you see Callan Potter do a great job of maintaining control of the body. He's kept his hands connected around the hips of Brenton Mumford, and this enables him not to let Mumford off the hook. He's able to stay heavy from top position, again showing strong hips like we saw in the second round of that BJ Bland fight. Establish a dominant position and then step over on this choke, which is very, very nice. Very, very fluid top game from Callan Potter. Now, because this fight progresses for a little while, it's obvious he doesn't get the submission from here. So I'm very interested to see how he maintains top position here. And even if he does maintain top position, we're seeing a very, very nice. What I'm liking about Callan Potter from what I'm seeing here, and also what we saw from him at the end of the second round, is that even though he's going for submissions and he's going for ground and pound in these positions, he's making sure to never give up position. He's flowing over his opponents and making sure to keep his hips strong and stay on top. He understands the importance of top position, which is very, very important. If you go and watch Maki Pitolo's fights from back in Victory FC, you'll see he's very complacent on the ground. He's not rock solid on the ground at all. And from what I'm seeing from Callan Potter, he's very, very fluid on the ground. Great transitions. I mean, the arms under the chin there, this guy's going to be forced to tap, surely. Oh, actually, he's done a good job of keeping his chin tucked there to defend, but it's more of a neck crank now, a face crank. Showing good defense, but Callan Potter's gone to the body triangle. Brenton Mumford's defending very well, but Callan Potter showing great grappling control here. Strong hips from top position, great transitions, nice back control, good adjustments as well. I'm very interested to see how this fight ends, because Mumford's showing great rear naked choke defense, even though the arm is under the chin now. This has got to be it, surely. Arms under the chin, body, there we go. Beautiful, much better from Callan Potter. Much, 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 much better. I'm just going to restart this fight just while I sum up here. We don't need to see any more, boys. Look, at the end of the day, if Callan Potter shows up looking like he did in his last fight against BJ Bland, or his fight before last, he's probably going to get lit up like a Christmas tree and knocked out. But we've seen enough in this fight against Brenton Mumford, enough in the fight against BJ Bland with a judo throw to know that we cannot cap Maki Pitolo at 80%, which is what you'd need to cap him at in order to get any value here. At the same time, I don't want to bet on Potter as an underdog. I don't care what his odds are, because ultimately, even from this position here, it's clear that the majority of his takedowns come from the clinch position. It's clear that when he does shoot the majority of his takedowns, they're way too high above his opponent's hips, which means he's really going to struggle to take Pitolo down, because Pitolo is muscular, athletic. He's got a compact frame, a strong base. It's not going to be easy for Potter to get him to the ground, but that doesn't mean he can't get him to the ground. And when he is on the ground, when he gets into top position, Potter has shown, just like Dan Kelly, he is an absolute nightmare. And we have seen, albeit a long time ago when Maki Pitolo fought back in Victory FC, but we saw back in those Victory FC matchups that Maki Pitolo doesn't have bulletproof takedown defense. His ground game is a little bit sketchy. So again, I'm sorry to be boring, but this is a clear and obvious pass for me. And I know, again, guys, it's boring. We're in this business to try and make money. You know what I mean? There's no shame in passing. Let the odds do the work for you. Hunt for the strong positions and only put your money in strong positions. And if you consistently only put your money in strong positions, at the end of the day, you will make a profit. How many people lost money last weekend putting Macy Kiazon into parlays and Mikkel Alexejczuk into parlays? I saw so many jabronis on Twitter placing huge bets on Alexejczuk, despite the fact that his takedown defense and ground game had never been tested. Despite the fact we'd never seen him go 15 hard minutes since he was suspended by USADA just a year ago. So whenever you have a situation like this where it is clear you must pass because there are no clear strong positions on the table, just pass and let the odds do the work for you. We don't need to put any more brain power into this fight. It is quite clear that we need to pass on this. So let's just see if you got any questions, guys. If you're watching on Twitch, we don't have many people watching on Twitch at the moment, but if you do have a question, drop it on Twitch and I will answer it for you, and then we will wrap this live stream video out, and I'm going to go out and grab some food. So I Click You Tilt has said Pitolo's nickname is too cool to lose. Well, hopefully he gets it done this weekend, man, because he does look like he could be a very, very good fighter. Very, very exciting. And I urge you to go watch that fight from Bellator 213, guys, against Cisneros. He did look very good. And then I Click You Tilts also asked, what odds would you consider a bet on Maki? Let's take a look, man. We can close this down. So I cap him. I think it's fair to cap him at around 70% here, because I do think it's unlikely Callan is going to be able to get this fight to the ground. That gives him a 1 in 3 chance, roughly, of winning. Close to a 1 in 3 chance. Obviously, the 1 in 3 would be about 66.6%, 67%, but about a 1 in 3 chance is capping him at about a 1 in 3 chance of getting a takedown and a finish on the ground. I think is fair. And what would those odds be? You're probably looking at 1.40 is going to be 71. 1.44 is going to be 69. 1.50 is where... So, 1.50 is where I cap him at 70%. So to get any value, I would need... No, I wouldn't need that much. Wouldn't need that much either. 1.57. I would take 1.55. I'd need a minimum of 1.55 to bet Maki Pitolo, because that would give him an implied probability of 65%, which means where I cap him at 70%, I would get a 5% margin over the bookies. But, you know, I can't see his odds improving that much. If we look at the odds movement already, his odds have declined down from around 1.40, which is no great loss, because obviously you know, there's no value at 1.40 either. He was briefly available at 1.70, which would have been a great bet you know, last week, but again, the max bet limits on these odds would have been terrible. All the low stakes bettors betting $50 going out and smashing these early odds when liquidity and max bet limits are so low are ruthless. I don't know why they do it. They're tramps. They're jabronis. What can I say? Lidosis, you're the fucking man. You are the fucking man. Lidosis, actually, dude, my wife said you're an amazing person, because my wife reads YouTube comments, dude, and she gets a little bit upset from time to time with some of the stuff people say. But she said you always say really nice things, man. She said you're a great dude. So, shout out to you, man. Of course you're a great dude. I know you're a great dude. Check out Lidosis in the chat room, putting in work as well, boys. In my chat room, Lidosis is always sharing his football betting tips, so he works really hard on, puts a lot of research in. He also posts them on the forum as well. The forum's a bit of a graveyard, to be fair. Not going to lie. The forum used to be a busy place on my website. We can see 17,000 posts, right? The forum used to be a very, very busy place. But unfortunately, when I added the chat room to my website, it basically completely killed the forum. So people don't really use the forum that much anymore. But you can see Lidosis always posting his football bets in there that he puts a lot of time and research into. So you should check that out for sure. Have we got anything else? Yeah, there is a forum, man, but people don't tend to use it. It all just tends to be on the chat room. Like, the forum used to be busy, and then as soon as I set the chat room up, everyone just moved over to there. So the forum doesn't really get used that much anymore. But that looks like it's going to be it for this live stream, guys. I will be back. I'm probably going to take tonight off now. I'm feeling pretty damn tired. My plan is to finish researching a couple more fights tonight. And then tomorrow I am going to do a long regular breakdown video where I will go through the fight between Adesanya and Whittaker. I will do Iaquinta Hooker. I will do Lima Jamau. I will do Kim versus Kassem. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I will do a video tomorrow, a traditional breakdown video with those 4 fights included in there. So I'm going to take tonight off to prepare for that and plan it out. So I hope you enjoyed this, boys. Please like the video if you watch this on YouTube and you appreciate it, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm being overly cautious when it comes to betting this fight? Do you think it's still okay to put Pitolo into a parlay? Are you going to put Pitolo on a parlay? Do you think it's unlikely Potter looks any better than he did at BJ Bland because he's too old to look like he did back in 2017? Or do you think Potter's going to come out, be able to get Pitolo to the ground, cause him a lot of problems? Do you have any insight on Pitolo's training in Hawaii? Can you tell us a little bit about his takedown defense and ground game? Because if he looks like he did back in Victory FC back in 2017, Callan Potter's got a shot here. But are you a loose enough gambler to roll the dice and take a shot on Potter at these odds? Let me know in the comments below, boys. And don't forget to watch that fight from Bellator 213 to kind of see what Maki Pitolo brings to the table, so you can see why he's potentially a very tricky matchup for Callan Potter. But thank you so much for watching, boys. I'll be back tomorrow with a very long breakdown video on that Adesanya versus Whittaker fight, which I'm sure you're all waiting for. But for now, take care, everyone. Remember, let the odds do the work for you and only put your money in strong positions.